Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday afternoon. Not normal time for me to be here, but that's okay. I am doing what is not normal these days. I have decided that 3 o'clock my time, Eastern Standard Time, is about the most perfect time for me to stream. And so, to fit everything else in my day that I'm supposed to be doing right now, I just like from 3 o'clock on is I'm pretty much done, right? And home. And so, for a while anyway, I have put out on the Discord a little notice that I'm going to hold my streams at 3 o'clock and they'll go for whatever I feel like I'm up to. So, welcome, welcome. The sun is shining here, although that's comes and goes. It's colder, it's rainier this week, it's more typical March weather than it is April, but that's all right because we had April May weather in March, so we have to pay back sometime, don't we? I'm going to spin today, and let me go ahead and get the I'm still up here, but I'm going to get my spinning wheel right here in front of me, and I'm going to turn my body so that I'm comfortable and can prop my knee up right here. This is the knee I had the surgery on. It's doing fine, but it has its limits. It becomes weary and starts to hurt, and especially at a bent at like this knee is. See, this knee's been done and that's all normal and everything's fine, and that's what we're aiming for eventually with this knee. I am going to spin, as you can see under the little title underneath the picture there. I am going to be spinning a Southdown fiber. This comes from a farm at the end of the road. It has other names. It's Walhalla Tunis because they raise Tunis, but in the process of raising their own sheep, they are scouring the area around them, local small farms, and gathering their wool too as a we'll take care of getting it processed. We're just going to pay you for the wool, we'll get it processed, and we have the business selling the wool. So, Fleece with the Face is probably the business name. Walhalla Tunis is the farm name, and you can find it under Walhalla also. And that's Woolhalla. Okay. This particular fleece came from a small farm near them. And it does say on each of them, they have a little blurb here about the little shepherd and the fact that they're raising the sheep. And maybe like this one says, it's first time and it's for 4-H and FFA, right? And then it always shows a picture of the breed. Now, whether this is the actual sheep or not, it could be, but the breed can always be somewhat characteristic and distinctive in their looks, how their face looks, and the Southdown has these curly little adorable locks, and they have them on their face too. This here is a different preparation of fiber than I've had before, although I have shown this on streams before, but it is a pole presentation, just like your inside feed yarn balls are, right? Now, I would just spin off of this, but my problem is I want a 2-ply, and I want to have pretty much the same amount on each of the singles. So what I'm going to do is weigh out. This is 4 ounces, so I'm going to weigh out 2 ounces and spin 2 ounces separately and spin the other 2 ounces from this. It is an interesting concept to do, but I noticed that it doesn't pull real cleanly out of there. It tends to bring other stuff with it, right? And the more you pull out, of course, the easier it gets. See there? It's opening up and pulling out really good now. I have just thought, the first time I saw this, I thought, oh man, that's genius. That is just genius. And you can see now It's really nice. So let's take a look at this fiber here real quick, because this Southdown fiber is crimpy. Okay, remember I said got little curls on there, right? It's crimpy. And if I can get it focused, and I'll go ahead and pull this apart so that you can see some of the really thinned out areas. You can see it's just super fine. It's very thin, fine. Whoops, find the camera, Cindy. Where's the camera? There we go. And if I put it like on my sleeve, oh, there you can really see. So the crimp is not that super obvious crimp, but what makes it noticeable in the is the spring. There's some spring. When you pull on the fiber, it wants to bounce back. That's going to be there when you're drafting the fiber, right? You're going to feel that spring. That's very characteristic of what they call the down breed. Now, we have a misconception that down breeds are because they have wool that is like an undercoat, which we normally think of as down, right? An undercoat. That's not really what it is. Down breeds were named because they were from an area in Britain called the Downs or the Downlands or something like that. And it was a location terminology to call a breed something down. All right. Now, the easiest way for me to do this is not measure up all these little bits and bobs, but to weigh this remainder and just go from there as to whether I've taken off half of it. So let me get my scale back on, because I believe my scale is turned off there. And let me weigh this. Nope, not quite. This is the last of the Shave 'em to Save 'em, and that's what that SESE stands for in the title there. The last of the already prepped fiber. After this, I've got fiber that I can do, but I have to do some prep work. I have to wash it. That looks pretty good. I think we're going to just take a little bit more and be done with it. I have to wash it, or I have to card it, or I have to comb it. And I've just not up to that processing just yet. So it's going to wait a while. Now I can put my scale out of the way. This is not marked as top or roving. And being that it is not real smooth, has a lot of short stuff in it, drafting out in clumps, not clumps, but thicker and thinner areas instead of pretty even drafting out, I would say it's roving. But it can be hard to tell sometimes if what you have is what they consider a top or roving, because mills can process things a different way. And if they don't mark it, just go with the generic roving kind of concept. If they mark it, if it is definitely been pulled out with a combing process and all the fibers straightened in a line, then you can call it top. They'll call it top, is what I'm saying. So now I just have the fun of spinning this. listening to the music, which isn't, it's chill music today. It's not real upbeat. My bobbin is rattling. It will stop rattling when it gets a little bit of weight on it. I believe my bobbin band, my drive little rubber O-ring drive band, is stretched a little bit. It allows that to wobble. I have a new one, but I don't replace this unless it just absolutely refuses to turn the bobbin or breaks. One of the two. Now I could do this in a, oh, and I might continue to do that. I kind of like it. It's a worsted pole draft. I'm not doing a true long draw. It is a semi-worsted draw, but it actually feeds really nice out of that. I should say woolen. I am not doing a true, it's a semi-woolen. I said worsted. Semi-woolen, because this is roving. And I'm allowing that twist to run all the way back up to there. I'm allowing it to pull out and thin as the twist hits it. That is a variant of the long draw. Now let's check the twist. Yeah, pretty good. I actually could use more twist. This area right in here is just not getting as much twist as it needs. Now if I increase the speed to have more twist, I may not be able to do the same pull. Looks like I can though. This will spin thicker. It's letting more fiber, more air into the single. The single itself is going to be thicker, so the 2-ply will be thicker. At this point in time, I have no plans for the fiber. The goal is to spin it into yarn and submit it to the Shave 'em to Save 'em project the Livestock Conservancy is doing in order to work towards another 5 completed fibers of their passport. Sadly, I'm wearing gray slacks today. They were the most warm, comfortable ones I felt like wearing, but the white doesn't show up very good on it. I should have a dark towel, and I don't. Don't have a dark one here. I do see some hay every now and then in this, although it's not much at all. Very clean. This makes very good, it's a quick way to spin. It makes very good DK weight. You know, good for knitting just about any hat or scarf, mittens, or even a sweater, right? That DK weight is just about the perfect weight for a breed of wool that is 100% that breed, you know, and processed from a fleece. This is very soft. Very soft. Well, I said my bobbin would stop rattling, but it hasn't yet. How annoying. This 4 ounce sample, this 4 ounce, I said sample size, this 4 ounce size of fiber is perfect for these Roberta bobbins, this size. I was going to look at something, the other one. Oh, they didn't do that. Okay. Yeah. Okay, but it is cute what they did. Okay, on the pictures, on their breed, for each of their fleece with the face, they like sometimes they give the sheep's name. It said the this wool is from the sheep named Appleby or something like that. This one was more generic, and it said Southdown, known as the smiling sheep, and it does. The one little sheep looks like he's smiling. So the smiling sheep. I love the fact that as long as you've got something back behind this, it just keeps feeding and feeding and feeding. It's so good about catching what's next to come into the drafting zone. That twist running down to it, catches it, but it also thins it out. And as sheep fleece goes, this is very white. This is something else I have remembered from the past. The Southdown breeds can be very, very white. Now I could try and fiddle and pull this thinner, but as I have said, the whole idea is just to make a skein of yarn that is very representative of the breed. So, I'm not going to try and take this and spin it like Shetland lace. Shetland lace is representative of the Shetland breed, right? Southdown is representative of a very sturdy, good for socks if you get a little bit thinner than DK, right? Well wearing wool. And it's a multi-use breed, so in that sense it's also not always going to have super soft wool. It may or may not be next to the skin soft because there are many people who are raising them as flock of meat sheep, right? They're raising the lambs and all that. So it's called a multi-use breed. Okay. And I do believe I'm getting enough twist in there now. And I think I'm starting to spin just a little bit thinner, but I'm not going to worry about that. It's kind of a judgment call whether to pre-draft it or not. If I pre-draft it, and the only reason I'm doing this is because I've got a folded over area here, right there, that I want to get straightened out. There we go. So it isn't so much pre-drafting as making sure I've got the fiber not overlapping on itself. But if you want to do the semi-woolen type spinning, I mean, you have to get it attached same way you do attach anything. But once you get it attached, then you just start pulling out of there and it'll start feeding like I've been doing. But if you want to do that, it's better not to pre-draft your fiber. You will pull it apart because you've drafted thinner areas. Now I'm down into where it's been kind of weird, right? It's laying beside itself with several different strands. So I'm guiding it right now into the drafting zone. There we go. There's a little bit of stickiness. It's probably a pretty high lanolin fleece. It's not unpleasant stickiness. It feels very clean, but I can tell on my fingers there's just that little bit of grease feel. Could be even carding oil from the mill. Although usually I can smell the carding oil. I don't smell carding oil on any of these that I've gotten from her, and whatever mill they are doing it. And I got a bump there. You notice my bobbin stopped chattering once I got all the way across it with some weight. And I don't like that. Sometimes you hit a point where everything ends all at once, and it looks too thick. This is just garbagey. Stop there. You notice I wiggle a lot, I move a lot. I'm not real comfortable. I did my first stream last Sunday afternoon and it went so well and I was so encouraged, but I had not done much either Saturday or Sunday. Not true of today. Yesterday I had rehab and it's hard on my knee. Hurts. And I've been doing more around the house. Been actually doing more spinning. I finished up the Shetland Corriedale dyed with madder and plied that. Got just under 200 yards of a 2-ply. Really nice. I'll show that later on. But since I'm doing everything on the Roberta right now, this electric wheel, I have to keep up with the plying to keep my bobbins open. I have 3 more of these with different breeds, but they were not the SE passport breeds. I just bought them from her because, was ordering other stuff anyway, and I wanted to go ahead and order some. And I'll probably be spinning those at some point along the line here pretty soon. But they kind of look like the same thing. I mean, they're different breeds, and they're 100% of that breed, but they're white and they're packaged the same way, and so it's going to look just like this spinning. As you can see, it is spinning up super, super fast. This wants to split. I don't know about that. Let's see if I can get it to connect. Alright, this is breaking off into little pieces. One of the things I'm going to do is give this a little oil. Oh man. Quiet day on Twitch. You guys must all be working or busy doing something of your own, huh? Oops. Okay. I must have hit the speed dial. I didn't think I did. Alright. That's too fast. Playing with the speed here. Alright, I'm gonna get some music I like better. Oh, where are you here? Let me go with the piano music. I like piano music better. Since I'm not gonna be talking much. Still feels like I'm getting over twisted, maybe. Oh, hello, Raiders! Like making it, huh? Welcome, Raiders! Not Kimonites. All right. Welcome. I have not had the pleasure of meeting you all. I appreciate you stopping by so I can. Runny Eggs, the Fallen Jay. Thank you for the follow. This is wool. This is sheep. Sheep wool. And I can even show you a picture of the kind of sheep because they put it right on the label. It's called Fleece with a Face. And right there. Aren't they cute? They're so cute. They're called the smiling sheep. See that one on the right there? Smiling? So anyway, yes, I am making a single right now, and I'll make another single, and I'll put those two together for a 2-ply yarn. Yes, it is so nice, and this particular vendor does specialize in going, now she's out in Arizona, so she's not local to me, but she specializes in going around. Her is, she said, if she can drive within a day and get home, right, picking up fleece from all these different small farms and turning it into fiber that can be spun. That's her thing. Oh, shearing is fun to watch. They're so good at it, and the sheep usually are so docile, they just lay back there like, oh yeah, get that off, get that off. Scratch over here. I use it in my own projects. Yes, I mostly knit with it, but I have done a few other things now and then. But I mostly spin it to talk about it. I have had a podcast about spinning yarn for 12 years before I got onto Twitch. And so a lot of people know the Yarn Spinner's Tales name as a podcast about spinning. But I branched out a little bit, tried Twitch, and I like it because I can show people things instead of just talking about it in a podcast. Now, see, because I'm not talking video podcasts like YouTube, I'm talking the old-fashioned audio kind of podcasts. Yes, that is called a great wheel. Usually has a great big sharp spindle, which is where the concept came from that that Rapunzel? No. Who pricked her finger and slept? I'm terrible with my fairy tales. That's where the concept came from. Pricking her finger on the spinning wheel and fell asleep till Prince Charming came along. Or however that fairy tale goes. Anyway, I do. Sleeping Beauty. Now, why couldn't I think of that? Of course. Of course. I do. I dye fiber. And this is not, of course. This is being spun for a specific reason. And they want it breed specific, right? They want it to be the natural color of the sheep. So I didn't dye this. I left it white. I'll get to keep the yarn, but I am doing it for the Livestock Conservancy program, which is the United States program for saving rare breeds of animals. It can be sheep, it can be goats, it can be pigs, it can be chickens, okay, any kind of breed that is normally was used in the past, domesticated for use in a farm, but is fallen out of favor and is now considered a heritage breed, right? That's what the Livestock Conservancy does. This is being spun for that. So I buy the wool um, just online. Various people will sell, and I mostly buy it with a purpose in mind. Sometimes I buy before the pandemic when they could gather. We had what was called fiber fairs, and shepherds would bring fleeces that they had sheared from their flocks, and you can buy that. And I have bought an entire fleece. So that has to be washed and carded or combed before I can spin it. Or I will buy it already processed up like this is, but in a natural color. Or I'll buy it where somebody else has dyed it and made it a really, really pretty color. There's some way back there, back there, in a basket, okay, that I bought already dyed by somebody else. I get it in a lot of different places. And this is an electric wheel, but I also have the older treadle wheel that I use, and I have two of those, in fact, so I have three total. So, you never thought about the work that went into it. Are you a knitter? Is that why you have a lot of yarn? Are you a weaver? The only reason I ask is so often people who haven't spun, they're knitters and they get into spinning because they look at the yarn and think, well, now I really would like yarn that looks like this. They get an idea in their brain about what, and they get involved finding out how to make that yarn, and then they become spinners. There's people like me who learned to knit very young, but I found out I like the tactile part of spinning more than I like to knit, but I like the spinning better, right? Because of this feel of that fiber in my hands and the process of seeing it go from something like this to a yarn. Right. Obviously, acrylic and a lot of the yarns that you buy in the stores these days, they're not 100% wool. That is an appeal for becoming a spinner because you're not stuck with what you can buy in the store. You can become very creative with what you make when you make your yarns. It's the rabbit hole. You've heard about going down a rabbit hole, right? And where you learn a new something and it just gets more and more interesting and you just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper into it. So, but there is an alternative, and that's make friends with spinners, right? They've got the yarn. You might get them to part with it. It used to be that I vended and sold a lot of things. I sold Angora rabbit fiber because I raised it. I sold yarn, right? I sold stuff I dyed. Anyway, alpaca, all sorts of things. But I went back to work full time and I gave the fiber business up and just stuck with telling people about it and teaching it. Absolutely do that with a lot of fiber arts. That's right. All of these people. And making rugs with acrylic, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. I have prevented myself from going down the rabbit hole of weaving, but that's okay because I have an adult daughter who is doing it, so she's got it covered for me. So nice to have people joining me. I love it that I got a raid. I haven't had a raid for a while. Yes. Runs in the family. Yes. And of course, if I say to her, I would like a dish towel, please. But more to the point, it's wonderful to know that her love of the old skills, what I consider the old skills, is there, right? She spins too and knits and everything. So that was the most important, was that she got that as she was growing up and took it into her adulthood with her. You saw me in Makers and Crafters. That's great. I know when I'm not. I stream 3 times a week, but you know, if I have the opportunity, I'm will browse who's on Twitch or what. And I've seen some cool things. You know, you do. You just see some really cool stuff. Now, Kim, what is your stream about? And I'm gonna, of course, check you out and follow you. I really do appreciate the raid. I am still getting used to the fact that Twitch is not. I mean, Twitch is gaming because I'm not a gamer, so I got through to it through the Makers and Crafters, and I realized that gaming me be there the big thing, right? I'm just not. That's not the first thing I call out, right? I call out the Maker and Crafter stuff. Well, yeah, and builders, yes. That is one I have not. Okay, that's really cool. I need to check you out, and you need to tell me what is the appeal. Are you putting different designs in the keyboards? Um, designing them specifically for a game or a specific use? Um, what is the appeal? It's not just like the standard keyboards that we get with our computers, right? There's a reason behind it, right? Really? Oh, the touch to it. How interesting. And you can design that into the keyboard. Some people might like a harder touch, and some people a softer touch. Oh, okay. Keyboards can be so customized. How loud the click clack could be, the aesthetic of the keys themselves. People make custom keycaps as well, which is neat. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Very, very good. Very interesting. I need to write your name down, although we'll do the check later. And some people like lots of feedback when typing in the form of sound of each keystroke, and some people like the quiet, so it can be customized to whatever the person wants. That's brilliant. That is genius. And here, all these years, I've just accepted whatever came with the computer, you know? I got it. I got it. Uh, yeah. I'm old fashioned note taker. You know, I have a pen and pencil here, right here, and I just write things down. One time on a stream, I was uh, reviewing a breed of sheep, and I was writing notes down, and one of the viewers came on and says, "Is that a notebook?" Well, yeah, I'm writing in a notebook. Actually, I've never had a whisper sent to me. I don't know if I'd know where it went. Let's see, where would it go? I guess it would show up in the chat, though, as a whisper, though, right? You can try it. Feel free to try it. Because, quite honestly, I don't think I've ever whispered to anybody either as I was watching there. Sometimes you need to write in a physical notebook, right? Yeah. Is I have so many people tell me that it is relaxing to watch this. Now, of course, I'm very relaxed doing it. It's wonderfully relaxing to sit and do this. I was going to show you. I need a little finger break here, but this is well. First of all, what you're looking at here is called a nitty noddy. That is a terminology in spinning for something that you wrap and count the yards, and this one happens to be 1 yard. They make them bigger that do a 2 yard, but this is a skein of yarn, as you're probably familiar. And once you're done on this bobbin, you have to get it into this form and tie it up so it stays in place, right? And then you can just slide it off like that, and you have your skein of yarn. This looks brown on the camera, but in truth, it's sort of what I call a dusky rose color. This is not the best camera. This camera up here might show the color a little bit better. Let me see if I can get some light on it. Not really. But anyway, this is also wool, and it was dyed organically, natural dye. The natural dye is called madder, M-A-D-D-E-R, and you use the root, and it produces this brownish, pinkish color. Okay, so I was gonna. This is just something I completed today. I have been spinning on the stream and everything, and this I'll wash this, but then I'll store it this way until I'm ready to do something with it. And I have about 200 yards in these two skeins here. that I can do something with. Yes, madder is, well, it's the plant name. So it'd be madder root. And you can buy it. You don't have to raise it or anything like that. You can just buy it from places that sell natural dyeing. And it's a matter of putting it in a pot and boiling it and putting your fiber or your yarn or whatever into that and, letting the color transfer to whatever you're dyeing. I don't know about avocado. Um, I'm too busy always trying to grow an avocado tree out of the pit, which almost never works, but you know. I live on 15 acres. I have no lack of forage that I can go out and do for natural dyeing. Right now, in the springtime, there are flowers that will give yellow, brown, green color. In the fall, there is bark and black walnut. I have black walnut trees, so that gives a deep brown or sometimes a reddish brown. I have aging woods on there that I can get lichen from in small quantities and do lichen dyeing. Oh, it gives off a pinkish color. That's sort of what the madder root is like, that dusky rose. So, and yes, I really enjoy the process of natural dyes. The colors are, okay, the colors are subtle. When you dye with chemical dyes, which I do, they're acid dyes, the colors are vivid, right? And we call them jewel tones, and they're just as beautiful as anything. But when you dye with the natural dyes, it's real subtle and kind of deeper, not deeper color, but more complex color, because you get little hints of other things, not just one strong purple that you get from a chemical dye. Does that make sense? That's why I have been doing this for 20 years, because there's always something to try, and it's always interesting, and it's always, well, okay, that didn't do what I thought it would do, but that's not bad. I kind of like that. You know what I'm saying? It just always ends up being something that's interesting when you work with the fiber. All about experimenting. Boy, that's my biggest what if. That's my biggest questions. What if? And also, this is a wonderful time to be involved. When I started doing all this in the 1970s, um, there was very, very little spinning or anything. It was, it has become very popular. It's extensive on the internet. It's extensively available, for whatever you want to do and get. So it's a real good time to be involved in it too. Definite comeback period. I'm not real sure if that's true or not. Um, as far as the pandemic, one of the things about this crafting like this is we like to get together. We like to get and meet in our groups and do things together, and we like to go shop together, and we like to vend together in fiber fairs, and all of that, of course, quit and went away. it meant that the person who maybe is just wanting to start couldn't wander around. Okay, so they go to the fiber fair because it's in their community and they have no idea what it is, and they wander around and they see these people doing all sorts of things, right? Spinning, weaving, rug hooking, um, shearing sheep, right? And it's intriguing and they can find ways to learn. But if you can't get together like that, like you couldn't during the pandemic and you can't yet, um, the new people aren't going to find it. Like me, yes. I mean, I got to stay home and I'm retired anyway, but I got to stay home and um, do all sorts of spinning. I had all sorts of time, you know? So, yes, for that reason, it was good. Um, well, or Discord. I'm on Discord, and I probably would do Discord first because that's where I would have contacts. Um, I have met with other knitters at what was the knitting store night, weekly knit night kind of thing. I have done that through Zoom where I've joined other people, but I haven't had much luck with bringing people from Twitch or from my podcast together because they're all over the world and the time thing is a thing, right? The time thing is a thing, right? It's just when you have worldwide listeners on a podcast, and the Twitch then of course can be 24 hours. It's not always going to be comfortable for me, and they're not going to find me because they're asleep, right? Europe's asleep when I'm on. So that I have once in a while gotten together with some people on Zoom, and it was like around Christmas time when they were doing some extra stuff and things like that. I have done that. But I don't think I would try to personally build one up on my own. Um, I think that it's just a matter of being in the right place at the right time and finding people who are gathering, right? There you go. I know. I know. I am not a TV watcher. Not the standard TV. I have things I like to watch, and I'll watch them as I'll binge watch the series or whatever. But to have the TV on all the time, no. I turn Twitch on and I watch Twitch. The most fun is when I have insomnia and it's 2, 3 o'clock my time. you know, uh, Seeing who's on then. End up watching a lot of passing through a lot of people gaming. There is somebody doing something all the time. That is very true. I know the other day on Sunday when I was on Sunday afternoon, somebody stopped by that introduced themselves and said hello from Turkey. Right? They were uh, using Twitch TV to improve their English, and listen to English podcasts. I admire them for that because I am not real comfortable going the other direction where I'm listening to other languages that I don't know. I have done it, and uh, it's been interesting to try and put together what they're talking about by watching what they're doing. I haven't tried it with like just chat uh, streams, right? Can't go there. Sometimes the music streams are non English. A lot of crochet. Not gonna go there. I do crochet, but you are right. A lot of crocheters. Some of the Brits because of your insomnia. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yo, how cool! American movies in the Philippines. That's cool. Are you still in the Philippines, may I ask? Um, I have had other viewers that are. And just to make it equal, I live in the United States, if you haven't figured that out. I live in a state called Kentucky, which is Midwest. I live near, I live in the country, but I live near a fairly good sized city that I used to work in. Okay. Shortly after learning. Oh, okay. So you're Canadians. Welcome. I am married, but my hubby, he just don't get the Twitch thing at all. He's supportive of me streaming. I mean, that's not it, but I try to get him on. Oh, he loves beer, so like the beer brewer, where they're brewing beer. I try to get him to watch, and he's just like, no, not interested. You're in the other CA, California. Wow. I lived in LA for 6 years in my younger years, back in the 80s. Oh, I sound terrible old, when I get reminiscing. I asked my daughter, I said, do you think people will think I'm like too old? Too much like granny reminiscing? Absolutely not. Ah, yeah. It's been so nice to meet new people. That's the biggest part about Twitch. I really do enjoy that. Oh, Fallen, that's too bad. I mean, I don't mind it at all. I stay in touch with my daughter. She's local to me, but I stay in touch with her, through texting. I mean, it's very rare for us to have an actual physical conversation because of her busy life. But still, you know, there's computers have always been part of my work environment, and I just sort of grew into always having them as part of my life. Yeah, I know. I am not working anymore. I am officially retired. I worked for 40 years in the medical profession, mostly in hospitals. I was not a nurse, I was a med tech, which means the laboratory that runs the blood work for the hospitals. I retired in 2019, so I did retire before the pandemic hit. Um, we had my husband is retired also. We had 1 year to play like retirees and travel and have some fun, and then 2020 came and we had to stay home. So we're still waiting to have a little bit more fun with our retirement. She doesn't like the fiddle aspect. Apple products would be good for her. Oh, well, yeah, I agree. I'm not a techie as far as putting things together and all that, right? I want it to work. I just want it to work. Yeah. And so, but I respect when people don't want to communicate that way. That's okay. I'm glad I don't have to work from home. I probably never would have. If I was younger, I would still be in that same career. I would not have worked from home. I would have had to work in the hospital. Oh, okay. Recently laid off, but it was a desk job. It has its ups and downs. You enjoy it. Um, yeah, my daughter's whole family has been working from home. Um, Her husband works with UPS, and he is a product shipment tracker. I mean, so he's not in the packaging or anything. He has a desk job. My daughter has a desk job, and uh, it was involved uh, taking care of all of the things that the surgical um, interns need at the teaching college here in the big city. And so, they get a new crop of interns in. She's got what they need to do, when they need to do it. I mean, she just kind of manages them. Um, she could do that from home. So, my grandson, who is 8, they ended up homeschooling him instead of going to school because he wasn't at a point where, when the pandemic first hit, that it was really a good thing for him to be not doing school, which is what a lot of kids were facing, right? They were just kind of on hold until they decided whether to send the kids back to school or what to do. So they just kind of started homeschooling him unofficially, and then when the school year officially started, they went ahead and registered him as homeschooled. So he's being homeschooled. So yeah, I mean, it's very much a thing for most people around here still to be working from home. Oh, really? Yeah. Lyft driver is cool. That's uh I had a friend that did that for a while. Actually, it was Uber, but same thing like you say. DoorDash was a godsend, wasn't it? We don't get delivery out here, but I know my daughter lived with getting food delivered a lot. And of course, the groceries now all being picked up and everything. So much of this stuff I don't think is going to go away, right? It's part of everybody's protocol now and way of getting through their workday, whatever they're doing, wherever they're working, and I think it's going to stay. I don't think it's going to go away. Um, and yeah, it is. It depends on your risk. Now, if you've gotten your COVID vaccine, if you've been able to get a vaccine, that helps a little bit. There's a promise here coming, but um, that just varies by area. I know. It's okay. We're way better than we were a year ago. We know what's going on. We're working on it, right? We won't be getting ours for our age group until at least August. Okay. Yeah. I have to put my brain back on the younger age group. Although my daughter has gotten hers because of working in a hospital. Um, Even she's doing that intern stuff, even though she has a desk job, she still was considered a hospital employee. So she did get hers. Yeah, we're not out of the woods yet, but we don't need to talk about that. I just glad, hope you all are working as much as you want to, need to, you know, and we'll hold the faith and keep the optimism and learn a new craft. Okay. What would be a craft you'd learn? I'm just going to throw that question out, and I'm thinking too. I'm thinking too. Um, what would be a craft that I would learn? I dabbled real briefly with stained glass. Love the way stained glass looks. And not the fake where you pour the dye on there and it hardens, right? The true cut the design in the glass and put the glass together and all that. I think that would be, if I truly wanted to learn a really uh, satisfying but probably very technically difficult to learn, I think it'd be stained glass work. Hey, let me read here. It's so convenient, provides jobs. It's a good thing, in my opinion. Where we're at, we won't be getting ours, okay, until August. Sounds about right. I could get it if I get up to date with Lyft, but the specific vaccine company I think is one that I don't want to get. Okay. Question about spinning. Do you have a pedal for that or is it a switch? It is a switch right here. That's off. That's on. Okay, so it's a switch. There is no treadle to the electric. Um, Now, yeah, some of the small ones that you see people spinning with, they're called eels. Um, they might have a foot pedal, kind of like a sewing machine pedal. Financially, I'm fine with. Oh yeah, with the unemployment. Okay, Stained glass would be neat. I agree. I just think that would be really interesting. Um, the one I took up was rug making, actually, but I would do stained glass too. It's just pricey. Well, that's probably true. You have to buy that glass already colored, don't you? And they get that color by firing it, don't they? I think, with chemicals. Next thing you want to learn about is electricity, creating my own solar stuff for trips. Cool. That's neat. Like chargers? You all come back sometime in a couple months. We'll come back before that. But what I'm really trying to say is I am using this electric for a reason. I had knee surgery. I'm about 3 weeks post op. And so I am not able to use the manually treadled spinning wheels. That's why I'm using the electric. So eventually I will, though. I do a lot of that on the stream. You'll be able to see the difference. And also because of that, I'm going to probably be on here about another 15 minutes. If there's somebody that you all would like to raid, since you were so wonderful to raid me, we can keep the raid train going. I don't very often do that because I'm not a I don't often have a lot of viewers. You're here for the ride. Okay. But we got a little bit to go here yet. I'm going to go ahead and finish up this bit of fiber. And that will be the last that I put on this bobbin. Um, so basically half got put on this bobbin, and this is the other half that's left, so that I'll start over on another bobbin. When I spin again. Thank you for the follow. I'm glad you guys are following so you can know when I'm on again. hiking and photography trip. Yeah, pictures mean so much to me. I agree. All the places I've visited, over the years. Okay, very good. That makes sense. Yeah, the camera I use in that lithium battery, I just they don't hold a charge very long. Of course, they're older. They're probably too old, but I just haven't replaced them. Oh, well, that's a good point. I really do think I drain them because I don't use my camera and I leave a battery in it, right? So I don't use my camera. But when I have two of them, so when I charge one, then I charge the other one right after that, and maybe that's not as good a good idea. It may not have needed it. It acted like it needed it. I mean, it was red in the charger. You call me whatever you want. Yeah. I mean, if especially if you're doing a verbal yarn spinner comes out a lot easier than yarn spinner's tail. When I pop on other people's Twitches with this name, they're like they stumble over the tails part. They're trying to make it stales or something else, right? They're trying to figure it out on the fly, and I totally understand that because that's what happens when you see names in chat. But yarn spinners is yarn spinners fine. Some people go as short as yarn, so it doesn't matter. So, yeah, I appreciate that. So I know not Kim, not Kim Montes. That sounds like an interesting, it has a story behind it name. Um, Runny Eggs, do you stream? Anybody else that came along with you stream, or is it just not Kim? This seems to be the never-ending piece of wool here. You all stream. Okay. All right, good. You do art things and sometimes video games. Um, okay. Do you stream under Runny Eggs and then Fallen? You're saying that you stream under Xperia streams. Um, you know you can export from Twitch to YouTube's, right? I mean, I put my streams up on YouTube. Um, but that's mostly, I think, just because I hate the fact they go away after a while on in Twitch. I have some YouTube videos that are they're connected more with the podcast in the past years, and they're my gosh, they're 10 years old or more than that. About spinning, of course. That's all I've really ever focused on. Okay. Thanks for the clarification. I'll be making note of that. Okay. I had a spinner who, was would periodically come to visit me, and I didn't know that she streamed. And one time she mentioned it, and I said, "You stream?" And she said, well, yeah, but it's all gaming. I said, well, I didn't know you streamed. She said, well, you stop by sometime, say hi. Or she said, check it out sometime. And I did, but then I didn't know if it was good protocol to actually break in and say hello while they're playing the game, if you know what I mean. I don't know gaming protocol on the streams. So I just watched for a while, and then I told her later on that I had visited. Oh, okay. Um, Injury is repetitive possibility. The repetitiveness is in your fingers. I am always having slight pressure on that fiber so it just doesn't go, whoop, zip right in. So there's a little bit of that. However, I have been doing it for years and years and years, and you can see I don't have arthritis in my fingers. Um, the ergonomics is always important, have your back supported, have a good chair, that sort of thing. This actual spinning machine itself, there's just no way it's going to hurt you as far as, you know, all right, that would hurt my finger if I hit the hooks, but it's not going to catch you unawares, right? You're going towards those hooks. Um, but yes, there is definitely a need for ergonomics with spinning of on anything. So that is something to keep aware of. And yes, I do watch TV a lot. Um, Before I streamed, which I started last July, um, so I haven't been even streaming for a year. But before I streamed, all of my spinning equipment was in the living room. And one of the biggest times for spinners and watching TV is the Tour de France. Are you familiar with the bike race, Tour de France? We have something called Tour de Fleece during the Tour de France, and we do spin every day that the riders ride the bike. And some people really enjoy chatting about the actual race. I enjoy watching the race, but the point is a lot of people watch TV and spin for a lot of different reasons. So, what have I missed here? Oh, gaming streamers know they're going to get interrupted. Okay. All right. Oh, what? The Tour de Fleece is opposed in the Tour de France? Yeah. Well, friends, thank you for stopping by. I am going to call it quits because I'm ready to go change position with my knee and put it straight out in front of me for a while. Thank you all for stopping by. It's been great talking to you. It made the time just fly by. So, let's see. Do we want to raid? Let me look real quick on Twitch and see what's going on here. I will admit I am not very good on rating. There's crochet. All right, gang. None of them are people that I follow. I don't follow Calamity. Let me hang on while I go through the ad there. It's slash raid and then the person's name. Okay. Um, Yeah, I'm pretty. I never know if it's a command or if it's a. I want to see what this Calamity Cat is doing as soon as the ad's over. There we go. What is she doing? My goodness. Well, she's funny. She's cute. All right, we'll try Calamity Cat. Is there anything? Okay, let's see here. All right, we'll try this. Good luck, guys. See you there. And thank you. See you later. Oops, that wasn't right. There we go. Oops, it didn't work. Maybe I don't need a space between. Maybe that's the problem. It's the other one? Oh, okay. See, I told you I'm not used to this. There we go. We're going now.